Welcome back to Comic Talk, everybody. I'm Ryan Murphy, and it's my great privilege and honor to be here with Mr. Edwin Galmon. Edwin Galmon is he's done a lot of work, a lot of covers and stuff for DC, IDW, and Dynamite. But now he's gotten a big opportunity to not only draw but also write the new Lion King series. That's a big deal. Lion King series for Dynamite Comics. Mr. Galmon, thanks for being on the program with us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really, really, really cool to be here. I don't get interviewed much, so so I'm kind of new to the whole situation, but I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So take us back to the beginning, that's kind of how we do it here. Just like talk to us about where you come from originally. First, how you got into comics. Obviously, there must have been an age or a time when you noticed you were good at drawing pictures. Well, first of all, kind of not, it's a bit of a taboo question most of the time, but how old are you? Like when
All right. Yeah, yeah.
what generation do you come from?
I am a millennial. I come from the 1990s. I'm a 90s kid. I was born right on 1990, so
Okay.
I was born right into that series. So like obviously like movies, Disney shows like Lion King and stuff like that was just part of the childhood like almost immediately. So that kind of just built my childhood like imagination, things like that. But yeah, but from the beginning, you asked how things all started. I come from a small town called Gaffney, South Carolina. It's a very like a small town, mostly all football, if you will.
Hmm.
But as I was growing up, I was watching pretty much nothing but cartoons, watching nothing but um, uh, old like Hanna-Barbera, like Batman stuff, or Scooby-Doo things. What people would see now as boomerang cartoons. Of course, like your anime and stuff. What is now back then I didn't know it as anime and stuff like Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon and things like that. But the stuff that just fed my imagination that made me want to just create images and draw and draw and draw. Um, and I felt my first held my first comic book. It was my dad's old comic book bin that he would lend to me, and I would open it. And the first comic book I've ever read in my life was one called Batman and Robin. Don't even know the issue number. Don't even know um, what series it come from. It just said Batman and Robin, and the artist was the late great Tom Lau, who I had the pleasure when I went to college to be a student of his. So that was very, very kind of like a circle moment. But um, when I read that comic, I knew of Batman. Like you have like the animated series and things like that, but I didn't know about like comic book Batman. The stories that they tell, like the canonical stories within the comic book world. I started to kind of jump off that comic, started reading more and more and more and more, mainly DC comic things. Because of that book, Nightwing and Robin became my favorite character. So I just started to read a lot more of that, which kind of shaped my identity of how I wanted to draw things. But when I started drawing, one of my first pictures I've ever drew was a movie cover, a VHS cover from a little small movie called, I don't know if it's small now, it's kind of like a cult classic now, but it's called Small Soldiers. And I remember drawing that, and my parents didn't believe me that I drew it. And so, just to kind of prove that I did draw it, I got another VHS tape of the first Rugrats movie, and I drew that while they were in like the kitchen, they were cooking and whatever they were doing, and I drew it just to show them that hey, I drew this. And so once that became like a thing, my parents started buying me like papers and uh, color pencils and sketchbooks and things like that. Like my parents were always supportive about my drawing, even if it was silly at first. They just, they just sit down, draw, play video games, do comments, whatever it is, as long as those grades stay up. But uh, when I started drawing a lot more of these characters, I started to understand more about what comics are, what stories are, what issues are, um, what ongoing like storytelling could be. So much that through middle school and high school is when I really started to have like a good grip on this medium is something that I really would like to create and do for the rest of my life. Yeah, from middle school to high school to college to now, my love for drawing comics definitely started to blossom in like that middle school age around when I started to really understand what comics are to a degree, to a degree.
So how did you break into the industry? You first get noticed by folks over at DC or IDW or wherever it was that you first worked professionally.
Yeah. In right after SCAD, I went to Savannah College of Art and Design, and right after I got done with SCAD, and I started to kind of like go out into the real world and um, like do freelancing and stuff like that. I worked at a comic book store in Savannah called Neighborhood Comics,
Mhm.
and when I was working there, I was drawing on the job. My boss was kind of gracious enough that I was able to just draw on the job sometimes, and there was another SCAD student that was there. He walked in and we started talking a bit, and then he let me know that he actually became a DC editor. And so after we started talking a bit, he after like a good month or so, I started to post more on Instagram. Um, and as I was posting more, I got an email from that same guy that came to the to the comic book store, and he said, "Would you like to do a cover for us? I'm heading up a Milestone Comics um, um, run." That was just when Milestone Returns came back. This came back returns, but Milestone came back with this big event called Milestone Returns, and I was able to do covers for that series, and that was my first shot. And when he gave me my first shot, it just kind of snowballed from there. So as I did milestone comic stuff, I started to go deeper into like the DC like comic characters lore, into like doing Batman covers and Black Manta covers. Um, yeah. From that first cover with Milestone Comics is when I started to just get into the whole comic industry, comic world, and I've been kind of fortunate enough that it kind of never really slowed down. That I just started to get more and more work from there.
Was there a time when you, I mean, we talk about your art, but also, of course, you write. So, I mean, was there a time where you were like, hey, I think I'm pretty decent at writing too. Maybe I'll try my luck there.
Started to do. Um, I got a lot of good close friends who are writers. And as they lended me their like script and stuff to read and stuff that they wanted me to like catch on to, and I started to get a feel like how they put pictures and words, like the way that they world build with sentences, the way that they world build with dialogue on paper, the way that they do this. I can actually see this. I can actually draw this. And working with DC for so long, but doing their scripts and stuff, as I would draw like comic panels and stuff like that, I would always read the whole script first, and then that kind of like gave me an idea like, okay, I can see how this is structured. I can see how they structure this. I can see how they write down character personalities, the way that they write their scripts. And I was just like, you know what, I think I can do this. I think I can like create my own. Like, of course, like us as artists, we're always creating our own comic books and stuff like that. But we probably don't write a script. We just probably just just kind of like go off and just do our own thing. But as I was just reading all of these scripts and gaining knowledge and gaining experience about how to draw from reading the script and how to read um, people's own voices and their own scripts, I was like, I think I can do this too. So when I got offered the job to do Lion King, I was like, I think I can do this. Like I can do this mainly because one, I love Lion King. and two, I really think I can give. I really thought I could give like these character voices on paper that I would also love to draw,
Yeah.
type of thing. So it's um yeah, when I just started like experiencing other people's scripts and started like to kind of develop my own voice through how they expertly did their own, that's when I started to figure out. I think I can write. I can jump into the writing world and see how that goes. Yeah.
Let's go back. You said something interesting there. You said you got offered Lion King,
Hmm.
and I don't know to what extent you've been published as a writer before that. But because that's a big thing to, and like we said at the beginning, I'm not I because there's no IMDb or whatever, I'm not entirely
Yeah.
certain how much you had published as a writer before that. But like Nate Cosby or someone at Dynamite just came to you and
Hmm.
said, "Hey, would you like to write and draw Lion King?" Like, how did that all snowball and come to that?
Yeah, since I've been doing a lot of work with Nate. Nate has been super cool. Like he's probably like one of the editors I have that like really kind of like deep dives in with you and um like when he trusts like your he trusts your vision, but whenever I have a question or I need help, like he's always there. Like I can always like go to him and do that. And so before I was doing Lion King, I did a lot of Lilo and Stitch and now Stitch covers. And I
Mhm.
also did a lot of um what is it, the not Gargoyles but the Thundercats. I did a
Yeah.
lot of did Thundercat covers. I kept just doing like a whole bunch of covers for him, and we kind of had a relationship from then on that like anytime we needed a cover from whether it be Stitch, Terminator, um, um, the Chitara series, the Thundercats, um, we just kind of like got like a sense of how each other operate, and
Yeah.
so when he sent me an email. The email said Hakuna Matata. I was like, cool, I'm gonna do some Lion King covers. He was like, well, what do you think about writing it? And I was like, whew. I was like writing it. I was like, we'll try. Yeah, it's like we'll try. But then I was like, I talked to my wife about it. I said, you think I could write a Lion King story? And she was like, well, yeah, yeah, you can. Just what would you like to write? So when I emailed Nate back and he said, um, we can also like co-write it. Just send me a pitch and we can both look at it just to see where we're going. And um, at first, I thought it was just like, well, it still is, of course. So I thought it was like this big responsibility. It was like, man, I never wrote a story that's going to be like canon to a franchise that I grew up with. So it's going to be like a lot of pressure. But at the same time, I was like, I want to have fun with this because like I love The Lion King. I always wanted to do a story um about expanding more on Simba and Mufasa's relationship because we don't really get that as much. And I thought that I could just give it a shot with on Nate kind of like guiding me throughout that process. So it was uh, my writing experience up to that point was very, 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 very minimal in terms of like actual credits of writing, but because we spent so much time working together, I think that I was able to just kind of gain that opportunity that was like, do you want it? And I was like, yeah, I'll take it.
That's awesome. And Nate is, Nate Cosby is someone who I'm fascinated by in terms of like his, where he's taking dynamite and everything. And sounds like he's very, he likes to, kind of trust, take chances on people. Like you said, your writing wasn't, it wasn't that big of credits. You didn't have that many credits at that point, but he took a chance on you and you have this awesome comic book series. Now, I wanted to ask, so your series is kind of it's a prequel. It's like it's the story of Mufasa and Scar
Mhm.
and stuff and young Simba. When he pitched you the job, I don't know how it works behind the scenes. Was there any? Was it kind of a blank slate? Was he like write anything like could be a sequel, a prequel, interquel, whatever, and you chose to do what you wanted to do and make it what it is? Is that basically what happened?
Yeah, at first, when I read the email, it pretty much said, just think of the first movie as the only thing that's canon.
Yeah.
And so, like, the sequels to it are like Lion Guard or the other comics
Mhm.
and 1.5 things. Just like just imagine those do not exist yet.
Yeah.
Uh, just do a picture story that happens within the first movie.
Hmm.
And when my thought process, I came up with like three different I think pitches, three different stories that could happen within the first movie. My worry was that like, oh man, I was like, I can't do too much because I don't know if I can like of course they told me don't change any like major events. Like Scar can't be like a good guy before like he
Yeah.
came out. It's like so um I couldn't like create too many new characters, stuff like that. But they just said just create a story that happens within the first movie. And the stories that I pitched, I think the strongest, me, him, was going back and forth about it, me and Nate going back, and we figured that the strongest would be just a relationship with Mufasa and Simba.
Yeah.
And my guidelines are basically, um, yeah, just don't really like, I guess, like intersect with major things that happen within the first movie, but you can like springboard off of that.
Yeah.
And so, my when I really honed in on what story I wanted to create, I was like, what entry point could I make within that movie? And it was right right after Mufasa scolded Simba about him going to the elephant graveyard. I was like, that could be a really good jump off point because Simba's whole takeaway there was I just wanted to like match up to your image. And I was like, well, what does that look like for like Simba, like every day? Like what happens after that day? Like, so that was like the guidelines I had, and the kind of like I was appreciative of the guidelines too because they narrowed it down enough that I was able to just focus on like a very um like small margin that like I can just like focus on a story that the first movie can help me like springboard off of. So I didn't have to just create a whole new thing out of nowhere. I was able to just watch that movie again and find something that really spoke to me. Yeah.
And so issue 4 is coming out in February next month, and then I think is it 4 issues, or how many issues is it ultimately going to be?
And right now they're looking at four.
Okay, so
Mhm.
yeah, coming out next month, and must be exciting. Is there anything else in the works for you that you can talk about, or
Let's see. I'm thinking of I think the Lion King one is the biggest thing I got in terms of right now because I don't know if I can speak on the other one quite yet.
that's always
I,
that's always good to hear. It means that there's
yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know
yeah.
if I can speak on the other one quite yet. I have the Lion King and about two other projects in mind.
Okay.
Uh, but um, but yeah, the Lion King is probably like the biggest one in terms of like this is going to be the one I'm writing and drawing. The others I'm just doing panel work for, page work for.
Mhm.
So this one's going to be like the one that really going to cause me. I have to like focus like I never focused before,
Yeah.
basically. But yeah.
Well, awesome. And so it's coming out. Like I said, most of the series is out now. We got issue 4 coming out. Can you speak to these other projects? Can you at least say if you're just drawing or are you writing as well, these things, or
The other projects.
yeah.
Yes, I'm just doing the page work. I'm not
Okay.
writing anything. I'm just doing the page work and um character concepts for stuff.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
um yeah, just page work, character concepts. The only thing I'm writing is this Lion King one, which is cool. It allows me to like step into the world of writing and kind of like have like all of my energy of writing focus on one project so I can like you know step out into the waters with just one project that I'm writing so I can step into other projects that I could write in the future to be like um I was able to do a book if you
Yeah,
will.
absolutely.
But yeah.
All right. Well, that basically brings us up to the present, and we want to really thank you for being here with us today, and just thanks for coming on the show.
Mhm. Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. That's Edwin Galmon. Please go out and buy Dynamite's Lion King, all four issues, fourth one coming out next month. And until next time, I'm Ryan Murphy, and thank you very much for joining us here on Comic Talk. See you later.
Thank you. Thank you.